Big Haley, ain't Haley, so the best shine in the land. Then he climbed that mountain for sweet contraband. She kept handy apple brandy in a keg inside her home. She was catchable but not fetchable, so the law left her alone. My great Aunt Hetty was a great big lady that lived all alone.
At Family Tree Nuts, we make professional, historic videos all over the country and currently have videos in 25 states and even a few international. Let's face it, nobody wants to read anymore. As a matter of fact, nobody wants to even watch long videos, which is why I'm going to keep this real quick. Moving into the future, how are we going to educate the public on all the historic treasures that are found in every community? We have found the answer. Short, entertaining, and to-the-point videos with lots of shots and views that are relevant to the subject. These videos are shared on social media and are the fastest and least expensive way to educate the community on the history of your area. We have experience working with historical organizations as well as city or county tourism departments and Chamber of Commerce's to produce these videos for their use. Our clients are provided with copies of any video produced as well as online links to the videos that they can easily add to their websites. Let us document and produce videos of just a few or all the historic sites in your area. You will find our rates extremely affordable and well below the industry standard for media production. We are passionate about preserving and documenting as many historical sites as we can, and we would love to work with you. For more information, contact me directly at russ@familytreenuts.org or my personal phone at 859-314-1976. And remember, Family Tree Nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree. And we're live. Man, I am excited about this show. How about you, Jason?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody, this is Colonel Russ Carson Jr., and I've got a great guest with me today. And just go ahead and introduce yourself, Jason.
My name is Jason Davis. I'm from Rose Hill, Virginia. I'm a fifth generation nurseryman, and I write songs on the side. And we've been putting together a collection of songs about the Cumberland Gap region. It's called Just Off the Wilderness Road. And
awesome.
We've collected, these songs were written by people locally here, and they're all new, and they were performed by people who are from this area too. So this is, we want to sound like us.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. So yeah, we'll get into the subject there. Before I forget, folks, make sure you chime in. Let us know where you're watching from, and let us know some questions for Jason that you want to have about his project. We've told you hardly anything about it there just yet, but we're definitely getting into that. I'm real excited about it. This is something that we've never done in one of our shows, on the music side of things, but it is very, very much history and very much cultural kind of thing. So it's totally different how you guys are bringing history to everybody.
It's somewhat similar in what you're trying to do. There's a great tradition in Appalachia to vocalize historical things in song. It's been through time. If the Vikings, if you had got a great death in battle, they'd have the song. That'd be the greatest thing you could ever have about you. So, this is kind of continuing the tradition. The Carter family's from the next county up from here in Scott County, and they had a song like it was about the tornado that went through Rye Cove at some point. And so, this is kind of taken that kind of a leg and going that way. All of these songs are about people or places or events throughout time from this area, from the area here that makes up basically Lee County, Virginia, Claiborne County, Tennessee, Bell County, Kentucky, and then slipping off into Hancock County, Tennessee a little bit, and Harlan County, Kentucky. But there's a lot of history in this area, and there's a lot of the backbone of this country, I think, is comes from this area. There were so many people that came down the Wilderness Road and into Kentucky. It's just it's the heartland, if there ever was a heartland here. And there's some things that are odd things in these songs that I didn't know about before I started researching this, and just things that would be lost. I think if something like, these songs had not been made, there may be some stories that get slipped through the cracks, kind of thing. So they may not all of them, not every single song is a historical song, but the majority of them have a history or have a basis in a question. I I want this album, or we want this album, to be a conversation starter. When you listen to this and people say, well, did you hear this song about Aunt Haley? Well, that was what the intro song was. Well, Aunt Haley, it was Mahala Mullins from Hancock County. The legend is that she weighed somewhere between 300 and 600 pounds. And she was a notorious moonshiner. She moonshined up on top of Newman's Ridge, and you could only get there on foot. And
that's a big stretch between 300 and 600, kind of thing. I guess when you get over three, I mean, what's
it depended on which source you look at. And so I have also learned that the thing about the news not necessarily being so has been all the way through time. So that I've seen in this country anyway, the sources didn't agree. They do think now that she had elephantitis is what caused her to have such a weight. And anyway, the story is that, as this story goes, this lady was up on top of this ridge, and you couldn't get there except by foot. And the sheriff sent a deputy up there to get her. And this is in a police report. They said when she got up there, she said, "Take me if you can." And he, of course, he wasn't going to carry her down the mountainside. And he came back and wrote on his report that she was catchable but not fetchable. And so she lived and bootlegged and everything until she died. There's photos of her. You can Google her name and it comes up. And she was very notorious. And in fact, they think that a lot of the ideal of a moonshining lady, that most of that basis comes from Mahala Mullins. If you've ever watched Justified, like the TV show Justified in season 2, there was a lady that was a moonshiner on there, and she had some qualities that would have been based upon that lady's character.
It was already in the glass, she said, right? Remember that she said, yeah, I know that show. Matter of fact, there's a lady watching right now, Laurie Sanders, that worked on that show. She did hair and things for the cast on that show you're just talking about out in Hollywood. But I see Laurie's watching there. So we're getting specifically on the songs and stuff. Tell us what exactly is this project? Tell us the name of it and what it is, because when you told me about this a few months ago, I was stupid excited about it. I can't wait for it to come out because it'll probably be my favorite album. So tell us what it is and what it is, what it's all about.
It's called Just Off the Wilderness Road, Songs of the Cumberland Gap Region. And it has been we've had been very fortunate. There's been a lot of people pitched in for this to help bring it to us. We've had a little grant here in Lee County, and the Board of Supervisors has given us some money, and in Claiborne County the same. And we're working on some stuff in Kentucky. We had some private businesses and things, donate to this. And so it's going to benefit, directly will benefit the Historical and Genealogical Society here in Lee County. But it's also going to try to benefit the musicians. Part of the musicians are going to get some CDs, and the hope is these musicians that play out in the area can go to a venue and say you were playing at a restaurant and you played a song. We have a song called Hensley Settlement. If you played Hensley Settlement at the venue, that somebody in the crowd, whether they be local or be a visitor, because we have a lot of visitors. We have a lot of students in this area that are at LMU and things and they may hear this song about LMU and it may go, man, what's that? I've never heard of that. And it may spur them to go visit, to hike up to Henson Settlement and check the things out. So there's just all these songs are trying to help us explore our area, not for just us, but for visitors as well, because there are a lot of things to explore here.
You're making an album of local songs that were locally written. I think you've written some of them, or
I have written or co-written all the songs. 16.
Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah. So you've written the songs. They're about people and places, sometimes legends, sometimes factual, about the things that have happened over the last 250 years in the region. And how many songs are this? There are 20 songs, you said, or
16.
What did you say? 16. Great. Yeah. So 16 songs, and all of those songs, and I'm very much paraphrasing so that I can understand it better. All 16 songs are made by different local artists there in the community, right?
There will be 16 different lead vocalists. Brian Turner is the engineer, and he's co-producing this with me. Brian Turner has a Jedi power of harmonizing with anybody. And so he has done a lot of harmony vocals almost on every song. And so the genres on these songs are not one thing. They're not all bluegrass. They're not all, just folky songs. They're not all story songs. So this veers off into some country sounding songs. It veers off into a couple of songs that kind of sound like a rock song, but they're all acoustic.
Can we hear one? We've got several clips. Yeah, which one do you want to hear?
So let me give you one that's not really got a good genre. Play the clip. It's What You Live For. That's going to be the first track on the record.
Hunting deep in the woods, I met a great big bear. I fired my musket at him, but the ball just laid down his hair. So I drew my knife and whispered a prayer, keep my family safe, oh Lord. It isn't how you die, it's what you live for.
That you actually sent me that there about 2 months ago, and I was singing. I know the words of that song now because I listened to it about 17 times in a row, kind of thing. So that's a really cool song. It's not about anybody in particular, but it's about an early settler on the back country and something that he would have done in his daily lives. And it kind of, as a genealogist, I put myself in the shoes of the people that were learning about and things, and that's a real situation that would have happened. Isn't that cool?
It's a Boone quote. It isn't how you die, it's what you live for is directly out of Boone's mouth, and so this is kind of telling. I mean, there's many stories of Daniel Boone killing a bear. It's not necessarily that's what happened, but it was. It's kind of living through his life, because at the end it says, I've lived and loved and had riches, and I've been made poor. And it isn't how you die, it's what you live for. Boone, did that. He ended up being, fairly poor when he ended up lost all of his land and everything. So it's not directly telling of him, and it would have been a very big story of somebody that would have come through too. You could take it that way as well.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's kind of how a lot of the songs are. Got a couple comments here too. Scrolling back here through it. Hey, what's up, Joe? I see Joe Lucero in Texas. Don's in Southern Ohio. Scott, he's in Nashville. So Scott's checking out. He's a banjo picker, pretty good. Pretty good. He sends me clips all the time. I think he's pretty damn good. Don said he lived on the tug, listening to music only found on porches on the weekends. Not written down, but everybody knew them. And sounds like some of our relatives, I guess, right there. Scott says the music motivates me to look into his own heritage. That's interesting. That's it. It's a different take right there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Lori says, love the song. What a great voice. And Lavana says that she descends from the Skaggs Long Hunters. And Lori says Palm Springs. Don't forget me. She's in Palm Springs, California. Yeah, absolutely. So don't want to forget her.
A man named Teddy Cosby. He's a great, got a great voice. And he's did a good job on that. I always thought that he's got background vocals to himself on that one, and I thought that it sounded like the little ghosts around him that was kind of in the thing. It's got a little haunting sound to it. So
yeah,
that song Philip Powers is the guitar player on there, and this song's just kind of in between genres. It's not really, doesn't really hit on any of them. I guess it's Americana. You were talking about genealogy and looking into that. You should play you want to get on a contrast. There's a clip on there from the song Melungeon. You can play that one.
And he was Portuguese. They pushed him west 'cause he had dark skin. To Newman's Ridge with his other kin. And there they lived. They were Melungeon. Oh, Melungeon.
Okay, I know this answer, but I know that most of our people do not. What's a Melungeon?
So that's a good question. It's been around for a long time, but in this area, a lot of times when I was growing up, the term Melungeon was a really bad term. It was a slur. And if you look into it, these folks, there are stories of people. There's a great book by Brent Kennedy called The Melungeons that everyone should check out. But these people, there's these things that had happened through that there would be English people coming through to settle the area, and they would run into these people who were not Native Americans, and they would, they asked them. There was an instance or two where they asked them who they were, and they said they were Portuguese, and which there's all these other traces, and what ended up happening is that the English settlers would come in, and these people would be in these areas, and they'd get pushed, and they'd come somewhere else, and they'd push them again, and they ended up living in the mountainsides and in the hollers that are in the darker places that the English people didn't necessarily want. And over time, a lot of these people got bad reputations as being moonshiners. Mahala Mullins was a Melungeon, and a lot of times she lived on Newman's Ridge, the same area there in Hancock County, Tennessee. But there was a lot of, it's a mixed race, and not really sure of all that is, if there is any. Brent Kennedy thought that there were some ties to the Turkish, that possibly the Spaniards had dumped some Turkish slaves on the shore of Virginia or North Carolina, and they ended up getting pushed into here. Of course, there would have been some interbreeding with the Indians and perhaps some slaves and everything else. So it's a mixed bag. Our country is a mixed bag, and they think that Abraham Lincoln may have been partially Melungeon. I think that everybody in this region, if you're here several generations, we're all partially Melungeon, and these people, for them to survive through all of that, the persecution that they had, and not really, nobody really claimed them as a people. Didn't a
group of them have a unique color?
They were most of the time they would be recognized as having a dark skin. A lot of times they would have like keen feet, keen nose, and a lot of times would have like blue eyes. It was a kind of an odd combination. It's kind of in between of a lot of things that would have been, stereotypical for a race.
Weren't the blue people said to be Melungeon also?
That's the blue people of Kentucky. I don't think they were Melungeon.
Some people say they were Melungeon. I don't know if that's a cross of stories there, but that's a totally different story. It wasn't UK Blue either. So
no, and I've always wondered if some of those pictures were doctored, but apparently they were not. And that's more that I don't think that they were the Gibsons, I believe, but there could have been some genetics in there that's close by. Gibson has been traditionally, if you look up the names that were commonly Melungeon, Gibson is one of them.
Yeah, Jameson from the Kentucky History Podcast says that they were French, and that kind of goes with what we're getting at here. We're getting off topic from your album, kind of thing with the Melungeons there. But I've heard Portuguese. I've heard they were mulatto. I've heard they were Turkish. I heard they were the Blue people. I've heard they were French. You hear all these different legends and things like that. I don't know if we'll ever really know because it's kind of embedded into us and who we are things nowadays. Lori asked, can they buy your music? Can they buy the album?
We will be finishing the recording up very, very soon, and then it'll be sent off to be pressed. And then on our Facebook page, there will be when that time comes, we will have a way for you to buy the music digitally or get it on a CD, and it will be available. But that is going to be out a little ways yet, probably a month and a half or something like that. That's what we're
not
looking
too far. Not too far. Month and a half. Be here in no time.
Some of it depends on when we send it off to be pressed. There's odd things happen with COVID, and don't know how long that may be delayed or something.
Right. And I think you said that they were going to probably stock these CDs in historic sites, like Cumberland Gap, Martin Station, multiple places where they're going to offer maybe in the gift shops.
Local businesses in the area will, yes, absolutely. My business here will have some to sell. And then the Historical Society, like I said, in Lee County Historical and Genealogical Society, they have connections of places that will do things for sure. And we'll be doing more of that will, and we'll have some areas in Kentucky and Tennessee that are around the gap too, that we'll try to get them into. Daniel Chumley has a music store there in Cumberland Gap, and I'm sure there'll be some there. Yes.
Yeah.
But there'll be an online way to purchase it as well, either digitally or a CD copy that could get mailed to you.
And it definitely is going to help tourism and awareness of other things that are around there, kind of thing, because there's not anything like this, that's out there. That's what I thought, that's like, my gosh, why isn't there more of this? I got excited about it. Number one, I'm a fan of that style of music, but number two is historical nature, So, I'm a weird guy, man. I drive down the road. I don't look and see what's there. I see what was there 200 years ago and imagine the people that were walking there and how they were living. So this music goes right along with that. Is there another clip that we could hear? A little sneak peek?
Sure. You could try, let's play Court Kentucky Girls.
15 feet wide, it's gonna be so easy to get to Harlan Town. I'd rather be a hobo than go up the ridge than down. I'll only ride a mile, then I'm in another world. I can't wait to leave Virginia to court Kentucky girls.
From Virginia to court Kentucky girls. That's right. That's it. And bluegrass bells, man. They grow them good over here. So
this is kind of one of those unusual historical stories. So there's a tunnel that goes from Lee County for a mile through the mountain. It's just a few miles from where I'm at right now, and you're in Harlan County when you come out on the other side. And so the tunnel was built in the 30s, early 30s there, and you can imagine my grandfather and his brothers and sisters grew up over there. My great grandfather was the postmaster over in Hagen, Virginia there, for a period of time, and they were raised there. And they, you have to imagine it was beam me up Scotty for them, because they would have gone everywhere on foot. And they might have had a, you know, a horse or a mule or something to ride. And then this train suddenly can go through the mountain. And you can either walk through the tunnel or hit your hobo a ride. And suddenly the world is opened up like a big old oyster. You can go over into Harlan. And, you know, it was a pretty good mining center there at the time. And it also opened up people from this county to be able to go to that county and work a lot easier than going over 4 or 5 really steep ridges. So it was a technology that opened up our society, our 2 states together, and joined us, which is kind of part of this project as well. So it kind of shows that. My great uncle met his wife through that tunnel. His wife was a Kentucky. He met her from being able to go through the tunnel to meet. And my cousins all live around. Yeah. His whole branch of the family there lives in northern Kentucky, there on the Cincinnati border. And so that song was a lot for them. So.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool about that, is that it's telling a story. You know, it's a fun song, and these songs are fun, but they also are of the historical significance. And I keep bringing it back to that because this is a history channel, a history show here. But that's what's really cool about it is I always know that when we discover things that are in people's family trees, the history and the stories become real to them. I mean, they're enlightened by the things that they learn. And something like that you just told right there is a neat little thing that years down the road, your all's descendants are going to be able to say, hey, man, that's how my great-great-grandpa met my great-great-grandma, whatever, you know, and she was a Kentucky girl there through that tunnel right there. So I think that's what I think is really the most cool about this. How did you get into this? How did this project even start? What were you sitting around one night just playing your guitar, or how did it happen?
But let me finish up one thought on that. There's also connections in these songs that I found myself as I was doing research. So the chain that drove that was the machinery that ran the steam shovel in the Hagen Tunnel ended up being the chain that is on Chain Rock in Pineville today.
Aha! Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Another song on this album called "Held Up by a Chain," and anyway, that's a Pineville rock song. I don't think I've got a clip of that on.
Okay.
But it's
that was classified.
Yeah. Ask me your question again. What was the question?
The question was, how did this whole project come about? You know, because these are songs that are out of your head, but how did this project get? Did you say, you know what I ought to do? I ought to put this all together. How did it get started?
So I go to church with a really great photographer named Harold Jarrell, and I've known him all my life. And after he retired, he began really taking a lot of photographs, more than before. And he put together a photograph book for the Cumberland Gap for the park system. And I've been dabbling in songwriting for 20 years or more. And you know, I'd come in and out of it and trying to, I don't have time to really have a band. I'm not a fantastic singer. So I dabbled in and out of trying to get people to cut my songs, and it's difficult to do all the time. And so the satisfaction of me having something, you know, that I was, you know, I've got all these songs, but they're buried in my closet. I mean, what good are they if they're just sitting there? So I got the idea to do kind of what he did and try to do something for the community. And I had a couple of songs that are on this project already. I'd written the one about the Hensley settlement with Red Hamilton, you know, a few years ago. And I had another song called Back to Cumberland Gap. And that kind of, you know, is a more of a touristy song. But that's where the basis of this came from. And so, ideas began to come to me about, what I could write about and different topics. And some of them hit me in the face easier than others, like Mahala Mullins. That was a little easier song, but I had written down the song, the title for the song, Courting Kentucky Girls. Oh, I don't know, 10 years ago. And one winter day I was at work here and something hit me and I wrote it in 10 minutes. And so when the key gets unlocked of what you need to get the meat of it in there, it'll come to you really fast. That I had the riff of It's What You Live For on a collection of little things that I doodle around when I'm playing. If I like something, I'll record a little 30-second bit of it or something. And I had the title from the Daniel Boone quote written on my phone that I had seen on TV one day or something. So I'd written that down, and I was driving to a job site and it hit me that clip matched the title for that. And I wrote that song in the truck.
Oh yeah. Yeah. While you're driving down the interstate, right?
I was on Highway 58, but don't tell many people that I shouldn't have been doing that while I was driving.
Right.
The muse hit.
Pretty straight. It's pretty straight, when the mood strikes, I guess you gotta pull over when you're a creator, kind of thing. Scott says he appreciates the Appalachian dialect and music. It's historical, it really is. And we can do a whole show on the dialect, where it comes from. Is there another song, that little clip we can hear?
Sure. Play James E. Raines.
I've been newly stationed here, fighting for the graves. We're trying to hold the Cumberland Gap where the Western Passage lays. It's blowing snow and deadly cold, so we've camped in the cave. I left my dearest Ida home with Laura on.
Yeah, what's the story with that song?
So, man has tried to put graffiti up since the beginning of time. There's something about being in a cave or something that makes you want to mark it up. I don't know what it is, but if you go into Gap Cave, which when I was a kid, it was called Cudjoe's Cave, and they've renamed it to the original name that it was. But if you go into Gap Cave, there's a lot of names on the ceiling in there. And one of them is a man named James E. Raines. And if you look up James E. Raines, he was a Confederate soldier. And apparently the soldiers would put a candle on the end of their bayonets while they were laying in the cave, and they would hold it up and write things. And he wrote out his whole name. And you do a Google search on him, you'll get a picture of him, you get a story of him. You know when he was born, when he died, about his family, where he went to school.
Wow.
He's a real. And so this song was the thought of what was going through this man's mind when he did this, and what was the situation that he was in. It could have been that while he was laying in that cave. So
that sounds like a video. That sounds like we need to do a video on that.
Well, we were mixing it up some. There's some harmony vocal. That's Brian Turner and myself, and that's shamefully me on there singing with Brian. Brian did a really great job with the harmony on that. But we are big fans of the Louvin Brothers and that kind of singing, and so this was kind of a tip of the hat to them too. So it's there's a lot of traditional harmony singing around here too.
Yeah, that's really cool. Michelle Taylor says that I know Mr. Raines there in Gap Cave. I don't know. She knows of Mr. Raines. She probably didn't know Mr. Raines, I guess, right? She was a Civil War soldier. So
yeah, he died in 1864 or 3 something, I think.
Michelle, I don't reckon you're that old, but I know what she meant. I'm just teasing.
His name is pretty in the cave. It's a pretty good size thing. You can see it well.
Yeah, we definitely ought to let's go do a video there together, you and I. We can tell a story together. Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it. That sounds like a good one. You've got some photos too that you wanted to show us. Some people that have been working on the project. I think Jordan can show some of those pictures, and possibly maybe you could tell us who they are and what their involvement is with the project. Maybe.
Sure. That's Philip Powers, guitar player extraordinaire. There's another clip of him. He was just practicing to play in one of the songs there. In that, we had a kind of a group of guys that served as a house band. They played several of the tracks down and kind of got the basics down. And some of the tracks were done more by different people, and some of them were done by a core group of people. And Philip and his cousins Scotty and Al did a whole lot of the musician work on the guitar and banjo and bass.
But they survive.
Again, right?
They were Melungeon.
That's Greg Turner.
Yeah.
No, he didn't show the video, I say.
Is there a video, Jordan, or? Nice. I guess he knows what he's doing there, doesn't he?
You don't have to tell him twice. That's Greg Turner there with the on, and the other guys in the Dreamscape band that play on that Melungeon song there. There's Brian sitting at the computer, and all those guys in that picture have a rock band that's called Dreamscape that plays around Claiborne County a whole lot. That's Chris Blake. He's out of Middlesboro, Kentucky. Fine singer, young man. And he's got a song on there with it. He's singing called Back to Cumberland Gap. That's Daniel Trumley. He and his father run a music store there in the Gap. And we had a song on there called Magic City. Brandon Fulson did the vocals on it. We called it Ragabilly. It's the first ragtime song ever written down was supposed to be written in Middlesboro, Kentucky, and this is kind of a nod to that, and it's kind of in a rockabilly style, so we call it Ragabilly. But he played the strum and banjo and some guitar in that. That's Larry Cadle. He's playing fiddle on a track, and Larry's a great collector of old fiddle tunes and things, and he's a historian of music stuff himself around here and loves the music. That's Brandon Fulson. He's on the Magic City song singing. That's Daniel Chumley. That's Danny Chumley. That's Daniel's dad, and he played bass on Magic City. That's Alan Powers. Alan's the kind of guy that you can just say, what needs to go on this, and you can say whatever instrument it is, he'll pick it up and play it, and do a good job at it. He's playing guitar and banjo and bass and dobro on this record.
Wow.
He also sings on here.
Well,
That's Scotty. That's his brother. He's a great mandolin player. That's me. We've been fortunate. My friend Joe Wilson helped me co-write a lot of these songs and helped me with the funding and stuff. And his parents run a community center in Ewing, and they donated, the community center donated space for us to use as a recording space. And it's an old church, and there's been a lot of there was some educational programs and stuff going on there before COVID, and so there were these little booths made out in the auditorium that were set up for testing centers, and so we were able to snake our instrument mics and things over into those booths and record multi-channel and not over and stuff. Very, very nice space for us to work in. Brandon Elkins playing banjo on Aunt Haley. That's Brian Turner. Brian Turner is the engineer, and he also is co-producer with me on this. Is a excellent harmony singer, can sing with anybody, and he's got some things on there where he's high as a bird, and sometimes he's so low that I've wanted him to sing in that voice in person just to let me see what he looks like when he's doing it, because I'm amazed it comes out of his mouth in that tone. But he's a really good musician, a good friend of mine too. We've been friends a long time. That's Shirley Smith. She's singing Aunt Haley in that shot. That's Morgan Wheeler, and she sings the song called "Held Up by a Chain." That's my son Jack, and my son Jack loves this project more than anybody. He has wanted to go to every session, and he has been hanging around with me like a glue stuck to my shoe for sure. But he has really enjoyed it.
Awesome. That's a lot of people involved in this project. How many of you are there? How many people have their fingers in this in some way, shape, or form?
A lot of folks. I'd say 25, 30, 35. I mean, it's a lot of people. There's been a lot of behind the scenes. Greg Edwards has been handling the money for us and things, and Wade Wilson, Joe's dad, they had a grant that they're handling for us as well, and we've had some gifting to us from the Board of Supervisors here in this county and over in Claiborne County, and LMU had donated us some money, and some of the banks here, and it's just been a community effort of getting involved. The town of Pennington Gap and Jonesville has given us some funding, and so it's been a lot of work, a lot of leg work, and I couldn't have done it by myself. There's no way. It's just been a lot of help from all over the place.
The musicians are from how far away? Like, where's the farthest musician that's on the album? How far away are they coming from?
So the distance in this area, you always do it by time rather than miles.
Yes, so, ridge lines over. So.
Yeah, you mentioned Justified there earlier. There's a guy that was on on the soundtrack there that was a band called Cumberland River. They're no longer together, but Dustin Middleton is supposed to come from Everett, Kentucky over here and perform Sunday on a song we've not done yet. And he's probably the furthest away, probably about an hour and a half drive for him. But I mean, okay. Brian's made a zillion 45 minutes to an hour drive. He's made 30 or more, 35 more, or, drives up here to work with this. So been a lot of travel, been a lot of people, some of the time thing has been, all of us have jobs, and, this is on the side. And so it's been a labor of love for everybody, because it's just, you couldn't have done it on a profit basis for sure.
Sure. Yeah, I get it. Trust me. I get that 100%. So yeah, man, that's really cool. I was I saw Scott asked, where did that go? Shoot, I had it right here. He said, "Will you perform any of these songs live, like at Carter Fold?" I don't know what Carter Fold is, but do you guys plan to do any of these live, man?
Yeah, the Carter Fold's in Scott County. That's the home place of the Carter family, and they have a really great venue there. And so, the Carter Fold could at some point. What's happened on COVID's shut down all live music at the moment, and I feel like it's going to get opened up in this summer and coming on. And right now, our goal was to get the CD made, because we need the CD made before we can promote it. And so I think a lot of the guys will be be open to doing some live performances. We will have a live performance at some point in Cumberland Gap, I believe. The Guardians of the Gap, the organization down there, wanted us to do something for them, and we will schedule that at some point. But I would stay tuned to the Facebook group to keep track of that. So some of it depends on COVID.
Yes. Speaking of that Facebook group, where can they find that Facebook group?
So if you look up Just Off the Wilderness Road, Songs of the Cumberland Gap Region, there's a group that we have made. It's linked, should be linked with the videos, I guess, here, but it's an open group, and
when we get off here, we can put the link to that in the comments here, and then folks can just go ahead and click on it and find you real easy there. So, yeah.
Yes.
Daniel Baker says that he's loving the fact that you're tying history to your recordings through FTN. To the old way of history is passed through, music is the next folklore. So that was pretty cool. And Derek Freshour says, very interesting. So are there any other clips before we get out of here? Are there any other clips that you'd like to share with us before we take off?
Sure. I'll leave. Let's cut out on a happy note. There's a song on there called Down 63. I just got done driving down 63 to get a vocal for a song there, and I rode around it. There's a lot of boating and things that go on in this area, and this is kind of a nice up tempo, kind of a country beat to it, and that'd be a great one to end on.
Tell
You want to end on
we're headed out to holler. Let's get in the truck. Lake water's been rising taller, and I don't want to get stuck. Sitting at the house on a Saturday morning, would rather feel the wind in my hair. I know it's little warning to drive anywhere with me, but let's go down 63.
I like that. I like that. Just local stuff. That's awesome. I think that this album's going to be a dabbling hit. For sure. And I think people that don't even know where Highway 63 or Cumberland Gap or any of that stuff will enjoy hearing this music and things. So.
Highway 63 will bring you you can go to Knoxville and come up 75 and get on 63, and it'll take you right to Cumberland Gap. So you'll be right there. So it's some of these songs have a little more of a touristy bent to them, and kind of an attractions of the area, and they also are uplifting, more so a little easier going, because some of the songs on this record can be. There's some downers in there. Song about Daniel Boone's son being killed, and some of these other things. The people that moved in here had a hard time at first, for sure. And so these things kind of help the mix lift it up too as well.
We've got a video about that Daniel Boone's son that was killed. It's been seen 500 times today. 500 times today for some reason. I don't know why it's been booming up. Maybe you shared it around. I don't know. But I think that's awesome. I go ahead. Go ahead.
I do have a clip of Wallens Creek there if you want to play a piece of that. That is the song about Boone's son being killed.
Okay. He was so good, we wanted to hear that twice.
It's okay. Yeah. Wallens Creek is the name of it.
Jordan, he's asking for another clip, Wallens Creek.
It's
I don't know if
it's
he's
not
looking for
video.
that or not.
Yeah,
Danny
it's an
says
MP3.
that.
Oh.
I got.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, he said it's having technical troubles with that. Danny says that he loves his Appalachian roots and music. The music I play is in my blood. He said he enjoyed your songs. And Daniel Baker's asking where can he buy the CD. So you said to just basically wait a little bit and see if it'll be on the Facebook group here shortly. We'll go ahead and make a post on Family Tree Nuts too, let them know that that's out, kind of thing, so folks can find that. So is there anything else before we take off that you'd like to share with everybody that we haven't talked about, or anything in closing you'd like to tell us about the project?
We have done our best, and lumps and all, and this CD has been a great joy for me to be able to help be a part of it and help try to push it along, and I hope that everyone enjoys it as much as we've enjoyed putting it together. And I appreciate you having us on your show. Our missions are akin, and so maybe we can help each other out later as well.
Absolutely. I'd be love to do that. And I thank you for coming on here, as we're definitely big supporters of what you're doing. And I want to go on record and saying that you're doing great stuff for your community. And, it's what you're doing right now is going to be remembered a long time. And I know you're not doing it for personal gain and things, but you're definitely leaving a mark and an impact on your whole community and miles and miles around. So I, for one, definitely appreciate that and can understand that. So, but well, thanks for coming on with us, Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. We'll sign off for now, guys. Look for tomorrow. Hey, I forgot to say, if you like our stuff, make sure you check us out on YouTube. Let's subscribe to our channel there. You can see all kinds of stuff there. Mary Grace will be back with us tomorrow night about her show tomorrow is about Montana. She's nuts about history, nuts about Montana history. And then Thursday, I'll be on there with Jameson from the Kentucky History Podcast. And we're going to be talking about the Scots-Irish. Yes, not just the Irish on St. Paddy's Day, but the Scots-Irish. Totally different group of people. So we'll take off for now. Enjoy your evening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And hey, remember, Family Tree Nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
So you've built your family tree and made a ton of amazing discoveries. What a fulfilling experience it is to breathe life back into them. But what are you going to do with all the information that you found? Are you going to let it sit on some computer or some website? Maybe hand off stacks of papers and binders that you have to some relative that may be interested, but maybe not be able to make heads or tails of the research that you've done. Let us help honor your ancestors in video. At Family Tree Nuts, we make videos with you at the location of relevance to your ancestors, such as their gravesite, their homes, land, or other location pertaining to them. You tell their story in your words, documenting them forever. The professionally produced videos are published on our YouTube page, where they are easily shared with your family members. The videos are also searchable and will be able to be seen for centuries by your descendants. Imagine being able to see a video of one of your ancestors. Well, your descendants are going to be able to do just that. And we have tons of examples that we can share with you. These videos are fun to make, and we can make many of them in just a single day. Don't let those amazing discoveries that you found slip back away into the darkness. Let us help you honor them by, in a sense, keeping them alive forever. Contact us for details.